Wow. Huge mansion in ruins here. Alright, so big news. I am in Scotland for a couple weeks, few weeks, not sure. Traveling all around Scotland. I actually just got here the other day. It's been beautiful weather so far. I'll tell you what though, it's not every day that you can just be walking through the woods and you come across an abandoned castle. Even has the crest still above the front doors. Now it's a fairly modern castle. It was built early 1800s, whereas some of the stuff I've been seeing is 1500s, 1400s. So it's kind of a modern castle. It was built for George Murray in the 1820s. He was the 5th Earl of Dunmore. And it remained in the Murray family until 1893. After 1893, ownership passed over the years to a few different families. And then in 1955, it became a private school for girls, which closed in 1961. So at that point, the house was pretty much left empty, abandoned. There was a small section lived in by the gamekeeper of the estate. In 1971, it was left completely abandoned at that point and left to its ruined demise here. There's an old tower on the property with a mausoleum on the ground floor of the tower, as well as a graveyard, which I'm going to take you to after walking through this amazing estate ruins. Wow. So that was the main entrance. So when you came in, you probably saw all the way down the hallway. Look at this. That's awesome looking. Stairs to nowhere. But that was obviously a circular staircase going up. I mean, this is absolutely a castle, but this is after, touring a few different abbeys and castles from, 1500s. So something like this that was built in the early 1800s just seems almost new in a sense. But I don't know. Look at the trees. Probably a 15-foot tall pine. Oh, this is it. These are the numbers. Liqueurs. This would store wines and various liqueurs, so that the numbers are still on there in some places. Look at that. What an amazing relic here. Definitely getting dark, so we have to kind of be quick with this. It's pretty cool. Getting up here might be a little weird because the stairs are, I guess you can go opposite side like this. No, I might have to jump across. I don't trust that. Did it. So anyway, in addition to being in Scotland, and that being one of my big announcements, another one is, in the interest of compartmentalizing and wanting to do more things about different stories and lore, I have created another channel specifically for that stuff. Different creepy type situations, stories, maybe stories that don't really have locations, but they're really interesting stories. Whereas on this channel, I really like to go to the locations and show you that stuff. This would be more based on creepy places for sure, and interesting stories, creepy stories. So that channel is called Beyondlore, and I've linked it down below. It's a brand new channel, so not a lot of subscribers. I just put out my first real video. I have some of my old stuff on there, but my first real video is actually about 9/11. Basically, what damage or what scars are still visible today. Not really necessarily lore, but I do kind of talk about a little bit about some of the theories, the conspiracy theories. But that channel, or with that video, I could never really have that be monetized. YouTube does not like that kind of material, talking about that subject. So I put it on that. So if you're interested in that, and if you're interested in lore, interesting stories, creepy situations, creepy stories, then go check that out. The link is down below. There's not a whole lot left of this because it's been abandoned for so long. And it is huge. I believe it was a school at some point. So imagine your house being so big that it could be used as a school. It's just us and the ghosts. 1822, I believe that's when this was built. Yeah, of course, if you could get to that, kids would have destroyed it by now. But the fact that no one can get to these, they obviously modernized that at some point. Amazing how it's still not been vandalized. Of course, you could argue that they vandalized it by putting those tiles on there. If there was $1 million in cash up there, I could probably get up there. Very limited flooring up there. I don't know if this... What's strange is that at one time it had to have been cleaned out because all of the flooring is gone, but it's not down here in ruins, so I don't know. Look at this. Still has this decorative stuff here. What is this, plaster? Yeah, plaster over the stone. This would have been heavy design in here. Plaster. Oh, we can come in this way. Alright, there's one more thing in this woods that I'm going to show you, connected to the Dunmore estate. So this is the Dunmore Tower, or the Elphinstone Tower. It dates back to the early 16th century. It was built by Sir John Elphinstone. And it may have been a living quarters at some point. I'm not sure about that. And in the 1820s, the Earl of Dunmore had the tower restored, and the ground floor was then converted into a mausoleum. The building was consecrated, and it was first used in 1836. Look, you can see some of the original spiral stairs here. Obviously long gone. Let's go up here for now. See what we can find. This is kind of steep. 1850, the Countess of Dunmore commissioned the construction of an Episcopal church, which was called St. Andrew's, and it was right alongside the tower. Now, the last person to be interred here was 1943, and by then the tower and the church were both kind of falling into disrepair. The Murray family had long since sold off the Dunmore estate, and the church, I believe, was actually demoed in 1976. And 1988, there was a big storm that came through and the top of the tower collapsed. And then not long after, that pepper pot turret also collapsed. All right, let me take you into the bottom of this tower to show you something that you would not think would be down here or in here. It is what you think it is. This is a burial chamber for the Earls of Dunmore. In the early 1990s, grave robbers broke into the vaults to steal whatever valuables were interred within the family members. And for years, human remains were left strewn around the vault. It wasn't until sometime in the 2000s that it was actually cleaned up. The bodies were removed out of here, and this is what the property looks like today. Now, additionally, on this part of the property here, near this tower, is a cemetery, the ruins of an old cemetery. Decent drop down there. And look, here are some of the graves. Bartholomew Watson died in 1844. Whoa, you gotta be kidding me. You can see right down into here. Alright, let me see what I can see in here. I'm gonna crawl in. Not literally crawl in, but there could definitely be some bones down in there. I don't know, I don't see anything, but wow. This is Edward VI, Earl of Dunmore. I can't really read the other ones. He expired on the 15th July 1845, fondly attached to his country and something of his father's. I can't really read it. Edward Murray, 6th Earl of Dunmore. And then died 12th of 1887. I think that was his daughter? I don't know, I really can't see it. Hang on. Let me just see. Okay. Yeah, this is all possibly pieces of the church, but probably at this point a mixture of the church and the tower. And then it looks like the foundation to the church is right here. That's about all that's left. There might be an inscription on this stone. It says something, but I can't make it out anymore. But yeah, this was all, the stairs were right here. These were stairs that went into the church. It was that close to the tower. So that's the history of the Elphinstone Tower, the castle, the Dunmore area, at least right in this property here. Incredible. I thought it was just the castle. And then we get here and it's the tower, and then we find out there was a church there. There's an incredible abandoned cemetery. Amazing place. We're going to get back on the road. And don't forget, check out beyondlore. I'm going to be putting out videos from Scotland. They're going to go on that channel too. So go hit that up. Go check that out. Check out the new 9/11 video. I'll see you in the next video.